Our next speaker is Dr. Vernon Howard, Jr. I had a problem with my email address for him, so I never got a bio, so I'm going to make this up on the fly here. He was born at a very early age. Actually, it's been my pleasure to work with Dr. Howard when he was the senior pastor at Second Baptist Church. He is a leader with CCO, Communities Creating Opportunity, has been to Jefferson City working to expand Medicare and Medicaid. He is the Executive Vice President for Social Justice for the SCLC of Greater Kansas City, and he's currently the senior pastor at St. Mark's Church. He is following Reverend Sam Mann, who is a tough act to follow, but I have no doubt that he will do an incredible job. So with that said, let me turn it over to Dr. Howard.
Thank you, Ira, and good evening, everybody. We could have just allowed John to finish tonight and had nobody else speak. We wanted some more wisdom to come forth from him. Why don't we give all of the panelists a demonstration of appreciation. And also for those board members and SCLC workers who are here with us, who have made this possible. Why don't we take some time to appreciate them and Ira and American Food. In 1963, when Dr. King declared, "I have a dream," the minimum wage in America was about $2.50. 50-some odd years later, the federal minimum wage is somewhere around $7.50. That is a $5 increase in the federal minimum wage over an approximately 50 years. That means that the poorest of the poor working people in America have received a raise of $1 every, 10 years for a whole half century. And this nation is only how many years old? So we're talking about a $1 raise every 10 years. While, how much was a loaf of bread in 1963? How much was a gallon of gas? How much did it cost to raise a family, to go to school? Clyde helped us with revelation on that. And so what we begin to see is that there is that kind of structural inequality that Brother Jamal indicated in a very, very clear and obvious way, in that the United States of America, that would be us, has officially legalized and structuralized working poverty in America. Dr. King, the man whom we reflect on and celebrate tonight, is a man who had shifted focus in his prophetic and activist-oriented activity to transition from attempting to sit down at the Kresge with someone of a different color, but instead had shifted to look to gain economic justice, so that when we were able to sit down at the Kresge, we had equal economic power to be able to buy the coffee when we sat down next to the man or the woman that we wanted to sit down next to. So then, there was a shift from racial integration to economic justice. So that 5 years later, in 1968, Dr. King is at the balcony of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee, and is about to go deal with structural economic inequality in that city. And as a result of him willing to dream a new economic reality for all of Americans, he discovered that he would be the victim of an assassin's bullet and taken out of here because of his voice and because of his threat, not necessarily for us to go to school together anymore, but for us to compete in the economic opportunities of American society. So that in 1968, what was being born was the Poor People's Campaign of America, that would in fact assemble a group that looks a whole lot like y'all in here tonight. Some dark Hershey chocolate, some creamy chocolate, y'all don't hear me in here, some peachy cream white, some vanilla white, amen, a little bit here, a little bit there. It would assemble some brown in the middle of Central. And what it would do, it would be cross-racial, cross-cultural, it would be interfaith, it would be socio-economic of every strata, and it would bring together the grassroots of American society to assemble back in Washington, D.C. Not this time for the right to go to school together, because I really don't have to go to school with you as long as my education is equal to yours. What we really wanted in 1968 is to be able to look in the mirror and say we are being fair to everybody in American society and giving everybody an opportunity for economic power in this country. Now, what does that mean for us today? Because Dr. King died, but we say the dream lives on. Does it? Does it really live on? Here's what Malcolm said: I'm not sure about a dream, but I'm familiar with a nightmare. As long as we continue to have the kinds of economic inequalities that are legalized and structured, then we will remain in the same condition, in the same situation. It's important that we let the people speak, but let me close with this. One of the major pieces that we fail to link between the past and the present is that there still is a need for protest. There still is a need to raise our prophetic voices about these inequalities. Because what protest does is it raises the conscious level of a people. And it helps folk to wake up from the kind of Novocaine that we seem to be up under in these days of time. It's almost like we're walking zombies, like we're walking in the daytime dead and numb and unaware of the pain and the struggle and the strife that people are going through. We have got to move beyond coming to Metropolitan once a year in a forum like this to celebrate King and to talk about how bad it is. We got to leave here tonight mobilized and organized to protest, to rally, to demonstrate, to confront, to dramatize, to go to jail, to do whatever's necessary to bring justice to our people. And so I want want to accommodate all of us today to join in and stay with SCLC from this night forward as you give tonight and as you contribute in the worship and the celebration. Please be careful to put your full name and information on the envelope, because nothing will happen if we are not mobilized and able to move in a particular direction when leadership and the masses and the grassroots conscious level is raised so that we can strike out and deal with some of these issues. God bless you. And God bless you.